Hi, welcome dear students to first video of chapter 1. Hope all of you are in a good health and many congrats and welcome to this new session. So today going to discuss about computer anatomy and internal hardware. Here you can understand the help of this figure. Computer is made of two major components, that is the hardware and software. And hardware can apply with the internal hardware, external hardware, and software applies to two parts: system software, application software. Now let us discuss the concept. So hardware represent the physical and tangible components of the computer. That is, the component that can be seen and touched. So, and example of the hardware are the input device. We use the keyboard, mouse, output device, that is the printer, monitor, secondary storage device, hard disk, CD, DVD, and internal component, that is whatever you see inside the CPU cabinet, right? That is the CPU, motherboard, RAM, it is. So we can touch so physical and tangible components of the computer. So different types of hardware we can discuss further also this chapter, and you can understand the basic internal hardware. We'll discuss internal hardware, external hardware. So now just see the relationship between the hardware and the software. So you can distinguish better, you can better understand. Hardware and software mutually dependent of each other. So we cannot imagine without the software or without the anyone, absence of anyone. So they are mutually dependent on each other. Both of them must work together to make a computer produce a useful output. Obviously, because all of mutually dependent and both of them must work together to make the computer produce. The software cannot be utilized without the supporting hardware. Okay? And hardware without a set of programs to operate upon cannot be utilized and is useless. Obviously. So once you purchase the hardware, then you must install the software. So we first install, you can see here the software, system software and application software. See example of the system software, that is the operating system, right? And application software, you already work with the Excel, different types of applications. Okay. So now software cannot be utilized without supporting hardware, right? And hardware without a set of programs to operate upon cannot be utilized and is useless. So both are mutually dependent, right? To get a particular job done on the computer, relevant software should be loaded into the hardware. So once you purchase the hardware, you need to install first the operating system like Windows, Linux, also in iOS and Android operating system. All of you are familiar with this. So we must install the operating system and then we can use the we can install the application software like Office, different types of software. We we only able to use the application software once we have a system software like operating system. Okay. And hardware is the one-time expense. Once you purchase hardware, is generally a one-time expense, and software development is very expensive and is continuing expensive. So once you install the antivirus software, you regularly need to update. Update. Once you purchase the Office, and see it is you have to also update the new version, updated version. So it is a continuous process, and different software application can be loaded on a hard disk to run different jobs. Okay. So software act as an interface between the user and hardware. So only we are able to use the software once we have installed the system software. Okay. Now, internal hardware, you can see the systems unit here. We generally see that we generally say this is the CPU, but you can see this is the inside here the internal hardwares. All these are inside the CPU cabinet. You can see this is the CPU cabinet, and see the CPU, fan, RAM. So various components we will discuss in this chapter. The internal hardware. So now, first of all, you can see the different components part that are installed in CPU cabinet are called internal hardware. So internal hardware components part that are installed in the CPU cabinet are called the internal hardware. Example: CPU, RAM, ROM, disk drive, motherboard, network card, sound card, video card. All these are the example of the internal hardware. Simply, we can say the inside the CPU cabinet, you can see here, these are the internal hardware. And see the figure of the motherboard here. You can see the motherboard, and you can see the slot of the RAM, and also the CPU processor. You can also see different parts, different here in the motherboard, different components are connected with the motherboard. You can see also the different it differ from company to manufacturer to manufacturer, so different shape and size. And now you see the another uh, motherboard. You can see the here the CPU and various VGA port here, audio ports, all these. And we have another also the another example memory slot. Here you can see storage drive connections, back panel connections, extension slot, all these. Right. So without a motherboard, all other components would be a cluster which don't fit each other. So this is the important part, and other component, other parts attached with motherboard to work properly. So motherboard can be considered as a skeleton, right? A skeleton of a computer with parts similar to human organs fit within it, right? And the motherboard are available in variety of size, shapes, and integrated features. As you see here, you can see here the different motherboard, and it differ from the manufacturer to manufacturer, right? And motherboard is made up of the hard plastic and is fixed in the CPU cabinet. So once you open the cabinet, inside you can see it is fixed the CPU cabinet and other devices component attached with the motherboard to work properly. So it has an integrated chipset and connects the CPU, memory, storage device, hard disk, optical drivers, video and sound cards, common input output devices as the keyboard and mouse and other extension cards. So if you find someone you have inbuilt some features are inbuilt and it can be also be extended. So it is very important of the. I hope all of you are able to understand these things which I explained. Thanks for watching the video. Bye for now. See you